Happy Friday. Give me a few minutes while I get myself set up here. Hope everybody had a great week. We had a pretty good storm here tonight. Getting all my circles back together. They're not even all here, I don't think. So we'll just wait a couple minutes. Just set up this page. For some reason they changed the page where the camera, where I can see the picture. So I hope everybody can see okay. Because like I said, the screen looks a lot different tonight for some reason. It's usually a full screen and I only have a partial screen. But as you know, like I said, happy Friday. And I hope you had a great week. And I hope you have some crafty things planned for the weekend. I know I do. I'm going to get my cards ready for next week. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I have a few things in mind. So, as everybody knows, I've been showcasing the Poinsettia suite in the catalog. To be honest with you, I had no intentions of purchasing it. And then a friend of mine visited and she had seen the dies. As you can see right here, these green are all the dies for the set. And she said, oh my gosh, you should get those dies and do a fomarian, and I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, flower. And that's why I created this card. It is actually a foam, a crafting foam that can be manipulated to create your flower. I was going to do this card for my live tonight, but instead I decided to do the hat. So just keep a watch for on my YouTube channel, and it's under Jane Proffitt, Proffitt, just like it's spelled here, because I am going to be doing this card on my YouTube. So these are the cards I created this week, all a little bit different. I really do like the vellum. But tonight, this card with the little hat, the easel hat, got an awful lot of attention. So I decided this is the card we're going to make tonight. You wouldn't be able to put it in an envelope because, as you can see, it is pretty thick. I don't know if you can see that. Adjust my light a little bit. But it is thick. Probably about an inch. So it would need to go in a little gift box. But it is a very cute little card. And it's pretty easy to make. So let's get started. I'm using real red, and what I did was I cut a piece, and I'll have all the instructions and dimensions on my page and on my blog tomorrow. But I started off with a piece that's 4.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4.25. And I don't really have a die that was big enough for the complete base, so I actually just took, and this is probably good, just a template, and put it over the edge a little bit, because you still do want your fold, so you have a card, and just trace around, because like I said, I didn't have a big enough die, but we can make it work. Or anything, even if you made something a little bigger, just trace it, cut it out, and then this is the base that you would have. Something just fell. Okay, so now you have your base, and then you're going to open it up and score it so the top piece is scored completely in half, and that's the base of your card. Then I do have, and I believe this is a Sizik die, but I do not believe it is a Stampin' Up! Die, and it is just smaller than the circle I traced, and I cut out the candy cane paper, and this is from The Most Wonderful Time. Is that what that one is called? Let me just quick check. Yes, The Most Wonderful Time product medley. This stamp set was available last year, so I still had the papers. So we're just going, I cut it with that. And then for the front, I have to say, on this card, I did use the flocked vellum, which is actually beautiful and very, very thick paper. And I made the mistake, before I decided to use the flock, to put another, you can see, if you can see, I had put another layer underneath. And for this card, it just made it a little bit too stiff. So for tonight's card, I'm just going to use the one layer of the vellum. And I used this larger die to cut it out, and again scored it at the halfway mark. And when you fold this and burnish it, just make sure you really give it a good fold, because like I said, this is fairly thick, and you just you want this front to fold nicely. So we're going to just glue this on. The hat is going to be in the center, so we're going to put the glue on the center, just like this, and then just dot, 4 dots, just so it holds it down. And lift up your card, line up your score marks, just like that, so it folds nicely. Push it down, and then just open it back up and hold it down just till that glue dries a little bit. If you share this video tonight, I'll be making a drawing next Friday for a nice, very nice gift. Okay, so that'll be the front, and it does actually fold much nicer than the one I did. So then we're going to create our layers, and I wanted to make the hat, so I took the scalloped circle, and this is the 3-inch circle, and die cut it in red, and then taking the candy cane paper again, and this again is from The Most Wonderful Time. It's the next circle down, scallop circle down. It looks like it's about 2 7/8. We are going to adhere this circle to the red one. And I like to at least try to And I'm using glue because it gives you just a couple minutes to move this around so it's centered on that circle. And try really hard to get the little scallops pretty much lined up. Okay, so that would be the brim of the little hat. Then I wanted to add a bit of gold, so I cut out a regular circle, which is 2 1/4. And we're just going to glue this one down too. It's a very nice, quick, and easy card, and it just is sweet as can be. Okay, so then we have that layer down. I got glue on it, but that's okay because it's going to be covered. Another little scallop circle, which is a 2-inch circle. And we're going to put that down on the gold, just so we have a little bit of a gold rim. And we're just building this hat from the brim up. Let me just straighten this out a little bit. I don't want to mess it, end up holding it and... Okay. So now now that we have the brim of the hat done, we're going to focus on the hat part. I have 2 circles, and again, they're the scallops, and they're 1 3/4 inches. Now, you know, when you look at your cutouts, you can actually tell which is the front and which is the back by how it cuts out. So we'll use this one as the top, and for the bottom I want the nice part showing, not the back part. I want the front part. And then I took a piece of real red, and it's 1 inch wide, and this one is 8.5 inches long. And what I did was scored it 1/2 inch from each edge and cut out little triangles. You probably could use pinking shears. I don't have any. So I just went along, folded my score line, and then went along the edge and cut out all these little triangles. And I saved you the headache of having to watch me, but you're going to run your triangles down the whole length on both sides and just fold them down just like this. And what I want to do is put a little bit of glue on each of these little triangles, probably a little bit too much on those, but run your glue down on each little spot, and we're going to start creating the top of the hat. And we're just going to, if you can see, going to take these little triangles, and you have to go slow so this glue catches. That's why I wanted to do a few at a time. And we're going to roll this. I want to make sure how much glue I have there. Right around the edges. Going around, keeping a little bit of the scallop showing. And hold it as you go. The Tombow glue dries fairly quickly. But it does still give you an extra little chance to manipulate it and change it up and move it in case you need to move it, just like I had to right there. Okay, so let's add a few more spots of glue so we can go down this top of the hat. And I don't want to add too much, but I want to get it so it sticks. And again, we're just going to lay this down trying to get it as round as we can right along that scallop. If you have to, you can hold it from the inside and just work it around. It's actually easier if you put it down on the table. It looks like it's pretty even. I'm just going to hold it down here at the edge. Add a few more dots of glue. I don't want to add too much because I want the glue to dry just a little before I start wrapping this around. And then we're just going to get it so we hit the edge here. See if I can pick this up without get an idea of where I want to cut it, and just trim this off. This way we're not using trying to manipulate the whole thing here. Okay, just going to hold this for a minute. Add a little glue to the inside. Where's my pokey tool? Just want to spread that glue out a little bit so it doesn't squish out too much. Okay. And if you press it down, now we have the little crocodile teeth on the bottom. And we have a nice little brim around. Let me just hold this for a second. Got glue on my fingers. And we have a little bit extra. And then we can just press these down. Put our glue around. Just like this. Take the other part, and I think we'll use this for the top of the hat. And we're just going to place this down. Make sure you have a nice space of the scallops. I'm just going to hold it for a minute so it stays in place. I have nothing to push up against the bottom of it now. So I just want to make sure that it adheres. And it looks like it did. Just give it a couple minutes. Okay, so looking at the hat, we have a little black brim on this hat. And all I did was cut this. I actually was using scraps, so I did glue. But this is 1/4 inch. And I am going to start over here, run some glue. I wasn't too sure how much I was going to need. So we're just going to run this little brim around the hat. Just cut this off. I didn't even need to glue those together. Okay, so then we have our little brim. I forgot to grab my red ribbon. I'm just going to hold it for a second just to make sure it doesn't slip off. So I'm just holding it while that glue is drying. I gotta grab my, I don't know what the heck I did with my red ribbon. I know it has to be here somewhere. Don't you hate when you had it and it just completely disappears? I've been working on so many things the last couple days. I'm just hoping I didn't run out. I know I probably put it somewhere safe so I wouldn't lose it for tonight. And it disappeared on me. Okay. Red ribbon. Does anybody have any red ribbon they can send? Oh, here it is. See? I knew it. Okay, so now we're going to add the top of this hat to the brim. Just going to glue it on. Make sure it's centered. Let me just pick it up so I can see. It looks like it's pretty centered. Now I'm just going to tie a quick little bow. Okay, just so everybody knows, if you are commenting, I cannot see any comments. There must be a problem with tonight's feed, because I just do not see any comments. I'll check them out after the video, so I do apologize, but there are no comments coming through, so I hope you can hear me. I knew when I started this evening that there was going to be a problem. Okay, so I tied a quick little bow. I'm just going to make it a little smaller because the hat is tiny. So we're just going to pull it. Just going to cut off these little tails. Just like that. Grab my glue dots. Right down, getting down to the end here. And I'm going to put this right where the black band comes together. I'm just going to add that little bow right there. Puff it up a little bit. And then I cut out in petal pink the tiny little poinsettia, and it's this little die right here. It has the little veins. And then I did it again in white, just so I could show you what I do. I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Mat. And what I actually do, let me grab, let me see if I can use this. This is just from my Martha Stewart scoreboard, but I'll turn it over, and just so you can get these petals to curl a little bit, just rub the underside, it's the wrong side, turn it over, and then with the base of your pokey tool, just push it down. It gives it a little bit of dimension. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. I'm going to turn it around on the wrong side, and you could use the the tool from your Stampin' Up! Scoreboard. I just haven't opened mine yet. I just got a new one and I haven't opened it. But you can rub the back side of the poinsettia just so it curls. Go from the point to the center You can see, I don't know if you can see how it's starting to curl up, but just go from the point to the center. Same thing on the last one. Just like that. Grab your pokey tool, turn it over, and just push it. And then you have a nice three-dimensional flower instead of it laying flat. Then we are going to, I think it's in this one, grab some pearls. While we're gluing this flower together, I'm just going to grab, that's the light real red. We're going to grab some dark real red, and we are just going to color two of our pearls. We'll let those dry for a few minutes. Oops. While I'm just gonna, this one got flattened a little. Let's just poke that down a little. And we're just gonna glue these two layers together, alternating the petals. So instead of the flower having 5 petals, it has 10. And you can always just poke them together again. Give them a little push in your mat. And then we're going to glue these, let's see, we're going to glue them to the opposite side of the hat. Just going to add a bit of glue to the back. I'm just going to, there it is, just going to hold that down for a second. Excuse me. Then we're going to take the other one and add some more glue, and we're going to put it right next to it. See, that glue wasn't set yet. And just hold these here for a minute. I love the glue because it moves around quick, but then when we have a project like this, when you want it to get done quickly, it takes its time drying. That's okay. Okay, that should be dry. Looks good. And we're going to take our little red pearls and stick it in the center of these flowers. It's not going to come off. I don't want to crush it. There we go. There's one. And here's 2. Okay, so there's your hat. And like I said, I'm really sorry there are no comments coming through, so I'll have to answer them, answer all your questions later. Okay, so for the inside, like I said, we cut out from the Most Wonderful Time the candy canes. We're just going to glue this to the inside of the card, making sure you're not going over your score line, but centering it the best you can. And then we're just going to put a white, whisper white piece, again cut out with a scallop circle. And I did this just so you had a little bit of space that you could write on. If I left it without it, you wouldn't be able to write anything. Okay, so now let me just grab a couple things here that I forgot to pull out before. Give me a second. As much as I think I'm prepared all the time, I always forget something. But here's the poinsettia petals. You can see my big one got to work out. I'm just going to grab the Merry Christmas. And it looks like it's on there pretty straight. And what I did was cut out, this is about 7/8 of an inch wide. And it's in real red. And I am going to use the Lovely You, the punch, the Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. It has the two label tops, and what I did for the one side, it's a little, really doesn't fit that well, and I'm going to do this for the other side, but all I did was stick it through, made sure I got it even, and then cut the one side so I could stamp. I'm just going to grab my Versamark, and let's see if my gun is plugged in. Yes, it is. And we're going to just stamp our Merry Christmas. In Versamark. And I'm doing it in gold. Looks good. Give me a couple minutes to heat this up. It always takes a couple minutes. Okay, not too bad. Okay, so now I want to, let me just hit this one spot. Doesn't look like I got it very good. Hold on. Okay. I always get worried that I'm going to burn it. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit because I did cut it a little long. And like I said, I want to feed this, and I'm using the one with the little decorative top. I just want to feed this into the punch. Like I said, it doesn't fit any of those grooves. But I'm just going to manipulate it to get it so it's centered and punch. I don't mind that it's a little longer on one side because I am just going to take a nice pearl and stick it on this end. And then I took 2 strips of white because I want to make this stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to run some glue and stick this on the back and turn it over. So I just want a little bit to show through, about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. And again, I use the glue so I can manipulate it a little bit. And then naturally I don't want all this, so I'm just following this angle and cutting that off. And we're just going to do the same thing to the other side. Doesn't matter what it looks like on the back. Again, just stick that on, turn it over so you can see. Just pull it down. There we go. And we're just going to cut this off. Cut this off over here. From here. Just like that. Now, I put this on the inside because we are going to pop this up, and this is what is going to hold your easel. So you want to make sure you use enough dimensionals. You really want this to stay in place. So when you fold this easel card, it'll hold in place. And this crazy piece of paper. And I guess you'd want it to stand just about like that. So we're going to make sure we don't put it in upside down. Just going to stick this, make sure it's straight. Just like that. Grab your hat. Now when you put your hat on the front, you want to only glue it to this piece in the front. So I think we'll turn it a little bit. We're only going to put glue on this side. Now remember, we're adding this to the flock, but we do want to make sure it is centered. I'm going to hold this down for a minute, clean up some of the stuff. I'm really disappointed that I cannot see. It's so funny. Before this, before I even had to do my video tonight, for some reason I was nervous and worried about doing this video. I do not know why. And then I got on and I do not see. I just hope after all this it worked well, because I see no comments. So I'm really sorry. So once this is dry, you can look at the back, and I am just going to take some glue. If I would have thought, I could have used my Stamping Seal Plus. That would have really held it in place nicely. But this will work. Could always curl your flowers a little bit in case they're too flat. You can always use your bone folder to do that. And then, much nicer. I like how this folds much nicer. And then there you go. There's your little hat card. And here's the original one. See, this one is just a little stiff, where this one does lay much nicer. Well, it doesn't right now because we've been playing with it. But there's the two different cards. So I hope you enjoyed this. Keep a watch for my YouTube channel. It's listed under Jane Profit. I will be doing the poinsettia and the flammarian flower, which is this one right here. You can get this foam on Amazon and pretty much a lot of the craft stores. If you Google, it's Foamiran. It comes in a wide variety of colors. I actually have red, like a turquoise, and a yellow color. And as you can see, it's just very soft. It almost looks like felt, but it's foam. And I will walk you through the process of being able to recreate this flower. So have a great weekend. I'll check all your messages when I'm done. I'm really sorry that I wasn't able to respond, but they're not showing up on my end, and I hope the video came through okay. So have a great night and a good weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.